Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for listening to us again to talk about AI in project management. I'm really happy today to speak with Mark from the Caribbean, as it were. It's the first time I've spoken to somebody from the Caribbean in this guise, so it'd be really good to hear his thoughts around AI in project management. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. And before that, Lloyd, I just want to say to you, thank you so much for having me on the platform to share my unique experience here from the sunshine, I would say, space of the Caribbean. So
Stop
yes,
making us jealous, Mark.
yes. So yes, I am Mark. I am from Kingston, Jamaica. So my journey, Lloyd, started back in the early 2000 when there was a big boom in the mobile transformation here in the Caribbean. So this was when I became an accidental, project management professional, traveling the region, rolling out these mobile communication networks, and so fast forward to 2020, that's the COVID. So, I mean, we're all aware of what happened at this time, and so at this time I took some time to reflect. I was wondering, how can I use my years of experience, to help, businesses, because as we all know, small SMEs, businesses, they make up the major part of the economy of any country. How can I use my experience to? And then one of the things I noticed was that because I was very active in the telecommunication, digital transformation, ICT space, I realized that a lot of businesses, companies, even projects, they were disorganized. It was very difficult to know whether a project was successful or not. So a lot of times we deliver the projects, but I wasn't sure that the key stakeholders knew if the projects were successful, because we could have delivered on time, but did we deliver value? And so I realized that there was a need for technology, AI, and so I started ECONO-ProjectEX. And so what we do at ECONO-ProjectEX, the idea is we help, businesses, organizations to deliver complex projects with confidence through training, and that's using technology as well, and through tools, technology, So yeah, so by doing this, just help them to be able to determine their return on investment, and help them to, detect or identify underlying problems within the projects, within the businesses, health checks, matters like this, that, to help them to see what is happening so they are able to build a strategy and move from strength to strength, And so from 2020 until now, I've been the chief person behind ECONO-ProjectEX, driving that kind of mission in the region with different teams.
That's fantastic, Mark, and I'm really intrigued to see this angle in of the geographical region and see what your take is around AI and project management. Let's dive in with some basic questions first of all. So first of all, from your perspective, what do you see as the use cases for AI in project management?
Yeah, so just to give you a background, so the Caribbean, a lot of people might not know this, and I've seen this in a lot of projects before, working with multinational providers. So they will do like some kind of what you call high-level master planning, but what they don't know, maybe from Google Earth or something like this, but what they don't know is that the Caribbean is a special place. So it's like a melting pot of islands, different cultures, different laws, different languages, and so what that means we have a lot of different problems, and so the way how you run a project in one island is not the same way how you run a project in another one, and so most of the times we generally have the headquarter in probably the bigger island, you know, and so we're running the projects out through that hub or, you know, and so what I realized was that, you know, say when I was working for the multinational vendor, so they were more mature, they had data, and, you know, so, and they had tools, so they were able to, you know, use the different technology tools to run some of these projects. And what I realized that it was easy for us to do like risk management and lessons learned, you know, in terms of like methodologies, you know, it was easy for us to like streamline different types of project management methodologies that we need to explore to run the different projects. And like in terms of like even our like literature review, say for example, we discovered some kind of opportunity, you know, it was easier for us to, you know, like collect information and use that information or data to build content, you know, like build a business case, something like this, you know, or build out a project charter, you know. So that stress wouldn't be on the project manager and the project team to do that. Our main focus would have been the core values of that project, which is the client, customer satisfaction, and figuring out the different milestones that we need to meet and to deliver bottom line value to the client, you know. So the technology will be helping out with these things. And there are other cases too, you know, working with smaller companies, like we call them like small companies, you know, small businesses, you know, where they don't have that luxury. So it's just a total mess. It's total chaos, you know, and it's just doing things from day to day without, you know, planning something probably in Microsoft Project or using some other tools, but we're not able to properly measure our goals, you know, and that's because of the lack of technology, AI, you know.
Interesting. And I think, you know, obviously you were talking about the differences between the country cultures, or the island cultures rather, and you know, I know we're talking about a geographical region, but it was making me think about, in a large company, there's lots of islands as well in terms of how they work, and they might work differently in different areas, and you know, so I think the challenge you're painting there isn't just a geographical challenge, it's actually an organizational challenge as well. But you know, you started hinting at there that you think that technology is as an enabler to resolve some of that challenge. And what you know, what are you thinking about in that type of space?
Yeah, so you know, like as I said, like AI, so right now like we have like the chat GPT, you know. So what I realized is that a lot of companies they have resource problems, you know. This is, I believe, one of the most popular showstopper in projects, I would say worldwide, lack of resources. And you have lack of resources, and at the same time, the lack of resources, the resources that you do have, you're using those resources to do lower priority tasks. And when I say lower priority tasks, I mean, for example, something like say templates, like, for example, templates. So a lot of times you see project managers building templates, but the projects are fast paced, you know. Here in the region, on average, you have to deliver a project within 3 to 6 months, you know. So project manager, imagine a project manager building out a template or building out templates for a project. You know, I believe that we should have some kind of technology or AI tool that deals with that. So for example, a chat GPT,
easy for you to say.
You just probably just use that, or have some other members use that, and we come up with a template, and we can tweak it to the situation of our project, and we move forward. So the project manager or the project leaders are always focusing on the bigger picture with the client, you know. And I think it's very, very important in projects today, because I believe that most projects that are happening these days are complex projects. And when you're dealing with complex projects, it's very important to give the client that attention. And so AI tools and technology can allow us to do that with the lack of resources.
Yeah, I think, if I play back what I was hearing there, one side of it you're seeing is driving the efficiency of project delivery. So you're more likely to do more in a shorter period of time. Your example that the project manager doesn't have to continually create documentation and, extending that with ChatGPT. You also talked about from a resource planning point of view as well, there's benefits there. And you also talked about, inter-island communications as well. But I think the biggest point you talked about was about the almost, which projects are being selected in the first place as well. You were talking about, working on smaller activities or tasks, but in terms of the decision-making tool as well. I mean, I don't know, have I captured the right 4 areas from there, or is one more important than the other in your mind?
No, I think we've captured the all the areas, because I just think it's that really. And I mean, it's not only about the technology, it's also about the people as well. So as you've said before, the technology or the AI tools is just pretty much like an enabler, or it's like the collaborative piece, the people power, and the people power is the superpower,
Absolutely. So can I just check then, because the world has gone mad around ChatGPT. Out there in the Caribbean, ChatGPT is also used widely, is it?
From my experience, we know about it, but I don't think that it has gotten to that stage as yet. I don't think it has gotten to that stage as yet. But I've been in workshops, I've been in meetings, and I've worked on projects in other industry than the digital space, and I've heard the topic being brought up by decision makers. But one of the things that I noticed, Lloyd, is it's easy to talk. I know eventually that this is where it is going, so this is the direction, but and it's easy for us to have conversations about it now. But one of the things that I notice is that in a lot of our projects, it's kind of difficult to leverage the AI tool and the project delivery, because sometimes the contract that you have, and the terms and the conditions of the contract and the pressure that it puts on the project itself, the timeline, everything is so unrealistic, but it was already agreed upon, So yes, AI could help in other areas in terms of if you have lack of resources, then in terms of like your risk management planning and all that, if you have enough data or if you have the correct data, it could help. But the way how the contracts are structured and the culture that we have here delivering projects, because a lot of times what you will see is that the project manager is hired after everything has been agreed upon. So it is, I thought that the project manager, it's like I would generally say to persons, and we would have a laugh, like I believe like project managers are like gatekeepers. So after you've agreed upon everything, then you want someone to solve the problem. But I think project manager should solve your problem, and and he or she should be a part of the strategic thinking, which includes the AI evolution, transformation, and also the technology,
Yeah, I mean, you'll be glad to hear it's not just in the Caribbean that problem persists. You know, it's that age-old problem that you know, either the strategy or maybe the sales department has sold the one thing, whether they've sold it to the customer or they've sold it to the internal board, and then you have to hand it over to project management, who have to try and make it happen, as it were. And often the first step is, you know, almost resetting the plan and budget. And the point for me there, I think it touches on what you were saying, that if you can get not just project management individuals, but the use of technology with data-driven insights as early as possible, hopefully that will slowly mean that projects are better planned in the first place. But, and I'd like your take on this, please, Mark, is, you know, even if you present the more likely plan, the more likely budget at that sales stage, do you think those decision makers are going to take it, or just ignore it and just say it's got to be done by then, it's got to cost by then? You know, I don't know how strong the culture is, you know, because it's certainly something that needs to evolve in the, you know, my sphere, as it were.
Okay, this is a brilliant point, Lloyd. This is a brilliant point. Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, it's not like a one size fits all, or yes, you define something at the start and then it is casted into stone from there. I just think that in any project, it's very important to have a baseline, and from your baseline, you're building different relationships around the buy-in that you want. So whenever you have like changes along the way, it is easy to have a discussion to approve something and to move forward, you know? So I believe this is how AI can help us, because when you're not able to put something forward, or to have something measurable, or have something objective, you know, to have something transparent, you know, it's very difficult along the way when things start to happen, you know, to have those discussions where you can get the requisite approval that you need to make a change or something, you know. And this is what I realize with a lot of our projects, because the environments are chaotic. For example, like I've seen one of the reasons why I even became a project manager, Lloyd, was because I saw so many persons being fired in the project. And the only thing is that they are being blamed, but for what and how? You know, nobody knows. It's because this happened in the project, but was the project successful? We delivered the project, but why are we getting so many complaints? We weren't able to quantify or to measure these things. And it's because of lack of technology and AI, like AI tools to enable us.
Yeah, I guess what you're touching on there is that AI and the use of the application of AI can help make things more have higher integrity. You know, it's trying to cut through the you know, the, I was going to swear then, but I'm trying to cut through the nonsense, you know, and show real factual data-driven insights. But I'd still go back to that point, and it's really interesting, your example there, that people were being fired at the coalface because, you know, in terms of culture, they were being blamed as well. And I think, you know, hopefully that data-driven insights can you know, rake some of the you know, bias down in terms of people's feelings as well. And it's you know, I was on a talk the other day where somebody was asking me about, you know, bias in systems, and my answer was about actually it can help to drive the bias out of systems as well, you know, sorry, bias out of humans as well. So you know, for me, don't get me wrong, that's a long road, but it's a training road, it's a cultural road as well, you know, and it sounds like you've got your hands full because, you know, maybe not used to you know, the maturity of some of the project professions. Maybe it hasn't been applied in your region as much yet.
Yes, that's true. That's true, Lloyd. And I just want to share with you, Lloyd. I've traveled to over 19 countries in the Caribbean, which would amount to like 30 plus sister islands. And in every country, it's like whenever we're delivering a project, it's like we have to create a new delivery culture, because you have islands where maybe you have like 60,000, maybe 100,000, and maybe you probably have one PMP certified, or maybe you have, you know. So yes, I mean, we know about project management, but sometimes it comes down to the commitment to project management, you know, the things that we're doing within the society, within the community, to bring that kind of awareness that shapes the culture. And I believe that AI can help us to do that as well, in terms of like the presentation and the content. You know, you're seeing like, for example, now TikTok. You know, even myself, I am on TikTok.
You're a young man, Mark. I knew you'd be on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok, and you'll be surprised to know how persons are liking some of the content that I'm sharing. And sometimes I try to translate project management into humor, you know. And this is a way how AI, you know, is helping. You're using the different tools to create the content, you know, to make it likable, you know. And I believe, like, I've seen cases where in projects, very recently, I was a part of a solar renewable project, and we were using Microsoft Project, you know. And I realized, like, every week Microsoft Project would send me a report in percentage how much we collaborated for the past week, you know. And after, when the project finished, I realized that I collaborated like maybe 50% of the time. We're always in meetings. And we were always in meetings because of the contract that was signed. And you know, unrealistic expectations do come from contracts too. And who are those persons who signed off on that? And when the project manager or the real project people got involved or were hired, you know. And that's AI too. And someone asked me, how did you know that we were spending that amount of time? And I say, I don't really look at it like we're in meetings. I just look at it like we're collaborating. So yes, it's like a blessing and a curse. We're always in meetings, but we were collaborating 40% of the time. So it means that we got to know each other better. We were solving problems, and we were doing some small matters, and we were even unconsciously applying the principles of agility, you know.
It's when you were saying there was one person on an island with PMP, I was presuming that was you because you were on the island.
Yeah, in some cases it could be. And even now I am a trainer, you know. I am a agile trainer, right, and provider, you know. And I, on a daily basis, I speak with students and professionals and businesses from different islands. And one of the things that I've noticed recently, because how I deliver my training, it can be either self-paced, virtual, or in person for those corporate persons who want that on-site feel, you know. And one of the things that I realize is one of the value that I see a lot of business decision makers, what they say is that, you know, they need to build a culture, and they need to build a culture because no one is speaking the language. And sometimes to speak the language, you need to be educated, you need to be aware. You know, you need to be trained, you know. And I do this digitally, so everything is done digitally, other than if it is that they want us to come on site physically. And it's AI, everything is, I can see the progress of a particular student in the tool. You know, if they're having any problems, I am able to support them real time with those kind of things, you know. And that's AI again, and it's project management.
It's interesting because you're casting the net quite broadly in terms of AI, and it's absolutely right. You know, I was laughing with somebody earlier. You know, my 14-year-old was telling me about something which was AI the other day, and it's almost like AI now is the term for, I don't think we use the word computing anymore, do we? It's everything is AI. Absolutely. Going back to what you were saying, I think, if I again try and sort of round off what you were saying there, it sounds to me that you've got a very disparate set of islands with all of their uniqueness and their culture, and almost requiring, from a project point of view, greater delivery maturity anyway. But and here's the rub, is that you're seeing that potentially the application of AI can accelerate that level of maturity, which then will accelerate hopefully into the level of project success. Is that fair in terms of my conclusion there?
I think that's spot on, Lloyd, because fantastic. When we talk about from chaos to, a lot of times you hear project professionals talk about from chaos to order, and in many environments, yes, we have the human power, which is the superpower, but sometimes, given the demands, we need the inclusion of AI tools and technology to help us to make those strides quicker.
Yeah. So tell me, if you were in charge of the Caribbean PMI practice, and apologies, you may well be, in terms of driving AI into project management, what's the sort of first thing that you'd think about doing in terms of, is it upskilling people? Is it giving them a ChatGPT license? What do you think the first thing you would focus on?
So, first and foremost, I think everything in life, Lloyd, is about the society and the community and the people, So I think to bring that awareness and to educate the people, so we could have more like summits, conferences, an AI, a conference for AI in the Caribbean, maybe annually or something like that. That's first. And then also, of course, you have, experts like myself, in project management, who is also like doing different talks here and there, and also like sharing experiences and showing up at workshops and so forth, and just continue to spread the word. And also, I think a very good way to do this is, for example, when we're involved in projects, right? A lot of times as project managers, we think that, okay, you're the project manager, so you're in charge, you're the boss. But a lot of times you should be the servant leaders, because you have young leaders who know more about technology. You should listen, and learn from them. And as well as it's an exchange too. You can share your experience. So it's like you're a mentor, and I believe we could do this to share the awareness around the bigger picture, because it's not necessarily around AI and these associated technologies, but it's about the value that it is adding, but business bottom line and the community,
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. Building up the awareness, not just of AI, but project management. It sounds like you're the man for the job. And obviously, when you arrange the Caribbean summit, don't forget to invite myself to come and talk as well, Mark. Listen, we've been chatting for well over 30 minutes now. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for your time. But before I let you go, is there one sort of takeaway that you want to plant in this conversation, as it were?
Yes, definitely. I think AI coupled with the people power, which is the superpower, will be a part of our future, Lloyd. I think it's an enabler. But I think the people power is the superpower. So we should continue to work on those soft skills people skills, the emotional intelligence, the empathetic skills, the leadership skills. We should continue to build and work on those. And don't be afraid of AI tools and technologies. We can find ways how to incorporate that. And the last point that I want to share as well, I think a very good way how to practically overcome and to prep for the future is to carry out assessments, company-wide assessments to determine our maturity levels, because that will also help us in making strategic decisions around the application or the implementation of AI within a particular business environment. Maybe we could do things like creating a project prediction proof of concept, do a small project around AI to see if this is something that works for the culture, and then of course, with everything, AI is not a standalone piece of the puzzle. It goes hand in hand with other thing, and I think data is very important. Yeah. Data and the quality of data, because we've seen in the past how much the information that we have been tampered with based on the contracts that were signed and to show small wins and stuff like this. So it's about data and the quality of data, and with the people power, which is a superpower, I think that we're in good hands for the future, and just always figure out a way to do some kind of proof of concept to show the value of implementing an AI in a particular environment.
Fantastic. I love that, Mark. The superpower. That's the one we want. Mark, thank you so much for your time, sir. And I look forward to keeping in touch.